I
I
pledge
pledge
allegiance
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Okay. Melinda Cook. Kathy Altensey.
Here.
Nikki Bender.
Here.
Joyce Ellers is reported absent.
And I'm here. Patrick Sellers is here. So.
Oh yeah, Patrick Sellers.
Yeah, I'm here too. All right. All right. We have a quorum. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anytime. The chair recognizes.
Thank you. The first order of business, well, before we get started, please address the chair and recognize the chair before speaking so we can make sure all of our viewers know who's actually speaking and wait for the chair to acknowledge you before speaking, okay? Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. All right. The first order of business is the approval of minutes for the September 21st, 2020 meeting. And a motion and a second, please.
So moved. So moved.
I got Bender first, right?
Yes. Motion by Bender.
Second.
Second by Altensey. Please take a look at the minutes if you haven't done so already. Are there any questions on the minutes?
No.
All righty. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. The next order of business is approval of bills payable. And a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Bender.
Yes. Please take a look at the bills payable.
Supervisor.
Yes, the chair recognizes Trustee Bender.
Underneath assessor. Excuse me. Heather Lancaster
Yes.
is a vendor. Who is she?
Oh, she's one of our staff, and she went to. Can you hear me, okay, Nikki?
I don't think she heard
Not
you.
too well.
That's okay. Let me come over closer. That's one of our staff, and she went for her classes. She took a class for work, so she's just getting reimbursed for the hotel room while she was gone.
Oh, okay. How long she been with you?
She started in 17.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Don't remember seeing her name anyplace. Okay, that's all I have.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions on claims and demands? No? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Altensey.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Cook.
Yes.
Sellers.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Motion passes. Okay. The next order of business is discussion and questions regarding the audit report 2020. We already had the motion and second at the last meeting, so it's just open for discussion and questions now, right? Am I correct, Mike, in my assumption?
That is correct, and then eventually a vote on the original motion.
Right. Okay. So.
I have nothing.
Okay. We had some previous questions from the last meeting, and we have the auditor here to answer those questions. So, Trustee Cook?
Yeah. Well, there was two main concerns. The way I'm trying to relocate my notes.
No, you're fine.
Just like that, the basis of accounting, which
Yes.
Mike explained a fair amount, but just the way that's stated. Financial statements are prepared in the modified cash basis of accounting, which is the basis of accounting other than accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. Like, the way that sounds, it makes it sound like it's wrong.
Modified cash basis is acceptable.
Okay.
The auditing regulations under the generally accepted accounting principles, that would be what's referred to as full accrual, where you're reporting payables and receivables, those kind of things. And you don't do that, which is certainly allowable, so we just have to note that the basis of accounting used is other than generally accepted accounting principles.
Okay. And then my other main concern is the reserve funds, and that's not
Being
what's the
Protected.
word? Protected.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it notes that we should have a plan
Mhm.
for what to do with that. So that's just something I think we should discuss.
Yes. What I have here is a letter from our bank, and I'll make a copy of this letter. And it states that they actually do cover all of our our total deposit.
Okay.
Okay, they cover it all. It covers up to 250,000, the FDIC limit. But what we have in reserve, the excess, they also pledge and they cover that as well. Okay.
Okay.
So I can make a copy of this and give it to the board and to the
Supervisor
trustees.
Sellers,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have a question.
Mhm.
They'll cover the extra regardless of how much that
Yes,
is? Okay.
Yes. So there, and Maida, we discussed this today with Liz. Am I forgetting something?
I think there's a 2 million.
Uh-huh.
And then there's a cash value, so for interest and that kind of thing, so they'll actually cover more than the 2 million in some cases.
Right. Right.
So it would be up to what isn't covered by the.
FDCA.
Right.
Yeah.
If I-
Anything in excess of that FDIC limit, there's an agreement with the bank. This was an issue a few years ago where
Mhm.
there were excess deposits that weren't covered. And at that time, it was our recommendation that Joy, at that time, was reviewing it and
Yes.
went through the audit this year. I understand that's still
Yes.
the case. So she's comparing every month the value of the securities that
Mhm.
Forested Bank, securities they own, that they've pledged to the township to say, your balances that are in excess of the FDIC insurance, we've basically pledged this security to you that if our bank goes under, you get this security to cover the unsecured deposits that you have. So when we looked at it, as Patrick noted, the security that they had pledged to the township was, the market value was in excess of 2 million. So your deposits, your deposits in excess of that 250,000 are fully collateralized by Forston Bank.
Okay. I think that was the gist. So I do remain like, isn't, this is not maybe relative to the audit, but that should be lower, the amount that we have in reserves, right? Isn't, there's something like it shouldn't be more than 1 year of taxes?
Well, you
Something
know,
like this?
excuse me. Yes.
Mike had said something about that too, and I'm not sure what that was, but was it 2.5 times?
I thought it was. Mike,
Yes, sir?
Trustee Cook has a question about our reserves and how much we should actually have in our reserves. What does the statute say that we should have in our,
The statute doesn't say how much you should have.
okay,
It states how, a maximum amount that you can have and still extend your real estate tax levy.
right,
I mean, so, and the general rule has always been 3.2%, 3.2 times your average annual expenditures is the maximum amount of reserves. I believe they passed a statute 2 or 3 years ago, which defined it now as 2.5 times the average annual expenditures over the last 3 years.
okay,
So, for instance, if you spend $1 million a year, you can't have 10 million sitting in reserve. There's no
Right.
need for a tax levy.
right,
But they would say if you average $1 million a year, you can only have no more than 2.5 million sitting in reserve.
okay, okay,
Otherwise, then it's illegal accumulation of funds, and somebody could challenge your tax levy.
okay. So that's the general rule. That's what the statutes say, right?
That's what the Illinois statute says.
Okay, okay,
And again, it's just like 2 years ago. The FDIC is an issue involving the federal government.
okay,
It's just as a quick supplement to what you've been talking about. The county, like in every June, the county has $17 million on file with the bank because the real estate taxes come in June.
right,
And since the limit by statute is federal statute is 250,000, what they do is they always have the banks pledge securities that the banks own that are on file with the Federal Reserve Bank in Chicago, that if there's any loss of that 17 million, the bank's own property that's pledged and on file in Chicago would cover any potential losses above $250,000.
Okay. Okay. Does that help
Yes.
out a little bit?
Yes.
You have another question?
No.
Okay. So, Mike, we are voting now to accept the audit and have it actually
Placed
sent to,
on file. Do you want me
placed
to
on
read the
file.
motion?
Yes, please do. Thank you.
Motion made by Sellers and seconded by Cook to move to accept and placed on file as presented the annual financial audit as received from the town auditors, to make one copy immediately available for public inspection at no cost to the person seeking to inspect the report, and to authorize the township supervisor to file a complete and correct copy with the offices of Stevenson County Clerk, Illinois State Comptroller, with the following explanatory or without any explanatory comments thereto. That's the motion.
Okay. Well, that was a mouthful for a motion.
It was made by Sellers and seconded by Cook.
Basically, you're just doing four things, Mr. Chairman. One, you're receiving the document, putting it on file for public inspection. Two, you're sending a copy to the county clerk. Three, you're sending a copy to the state controller, both of which are required by statute. And four, the recent change to the state statute gives you the option, if you want, you meaning the township board, if the township board wants, it can include some additional explanatory comments that the auditors did not put in the report, or it can just send the report as it received it from the auditors.
Okay.
Those are the four actions that motion's authorizing.
Okay. Okay.
So question of on this motion then, do they have to approve either A or B, Michael? Either they approve it
A
with,
or B. You're either not gonna attach any comments, or you're gonna attach explanatory comments, and then you'd have to state what the explanatory comments are.
okay, so the board has to decide which way they want to go, correct?
And right, and this is a brand new option for the board to choose. It's, it has, there's a recent statutory change to allow the board to make explanatory comments. That never was possible before.
Okay. Okay, so the options are to send it as is, or to send with explanatory comments, right? Those are the two options we have to choose from.
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up to the board. What does the board want to do? What do you guys decide?
Send it as is.
Send as is. Board, I'm inclined to agree with you. I'm leaning towards sending it as is. I would like to hear from any other board members if they have anything else they would like to add.
No.
Anything from you, Trustee Bender?
No, it's fine the way it is.
Okay, so I guess, Madam Clerk, do we call the roll, Mike, or do we do a voice vote? Roll call? What do you think?
It's financial.
Financial, let's do a roll call.
I would say roll call only because it's a statutory duty.
Got it.
So you're not spending money by this roll call, but just because the statute says you have to do this, I would recommend it be a roll call.
Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Altency? Cook?
Yes.
Bender?
Aye.
Sellers?
Aye.
Okay, everybody's, so option B.
Yes.
Okay.
So motion carries. Thank you. All right.
If anybody has any more questions, feel free to type on my email and my phone. You can certainly reach out with questions. So.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much. All right, the next order of business is going to be discussion regarding proposed elected town official salaries for term beginning May 2021. I need a motion and a second, please.
Motion.
I need a second.
Second.
Second by Bender. Has all the board members got a chance to look at the information that we sent to you all?
Yes.
Okay. we're open for discussion. Let's discuss it. We reached out to how many townships we reached out to, Amita? Hold on, I can do it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Tried to find the
14.
townships that were most similar in population and had and similar in parcel.
In parcel count, yes, about 14, right?
Yeah, 3, 4.
You might want to speak closer to Nikki.
You may
Move
want
your
to
chair.
come on up, Maida. Come on up.
Come on down.
Yes. Come on up. I think it was 14 that we checked with.
And we never heard from one of them.
Right.
Yep, 14.
Okay.
Well, we reached out to 15.
When you said they were similar in population size
And parcel count. Mhm.
Right.
Are they similar demographically and like in what's the word, like the property values?
I didn't get the property values, but if you have the same number of properties, you're gonna have to value them regardless of how many, what
Right.
the values are gonna be. So when you're looking at similar parcels, you still have to value that number.
Yeah.
You just might get a larger base if the value's higher, which gives the tax rates an opportunity to be lower, but not necessarily, the tax bill, depending on how that all plays out.
Because like a lot of the townships that are the same size as ours would be suburban townships, right?
Right. So we have like, Door is in McHenry, but they have, and I hope I'm not saying that wrong, it's DORR, but like they're in McHenry, but then we also went to Moline and we went to different, areas. We tried to really find, so you see the population range runs from 15,000 to 54, but the median was at 29, and the only reason why we would have thrown in the higher population was because the parcel count was more similar. So it was just trying to find the ones that were most similar and to get a range to work with so that we'd have some gauge on that.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Um,
Fine.
does home rule have any effect on any of this?
No.
Okay.
I've always found it very strange that elected officials get to approve their own pay increases. Like this feels like a morally sticky ground to me.
Who do you think should do it?
I don't know. Right. And when I was reading this today, because my initial inclination is I feel like coming from an education background and knowing what I got paid as a teacher, I have a great tendency to be rather dismissive of pay increases that I see and are like way higher than what I made as a teacher, which, like all the requirements of education. And then I looked up like Freeport, City of Freeport salaries and got to reading that and saw that the like lowest paid police officer is making relative to what we are saying you guys would both make. So then I find that like another moral issue for me because, again, based on what teachers make and such, and they get outfit allowances and things like that.
Teachers get screwed in
they
this
don't get
state.
they don't get money for their clothes.
And you got to pay extra for stuff that they school won't provide.
So, I feel
That's why we can't get teachers.
a lot of ways about this.
Yeah.
Supervisor Saunders.
Yes, the chair recognizes Trustee Bender.
After reading all of this, I've been through this for many years with the township, and the assessor's office has always been underpaid, and it's always been a problem. But it was the former administration, that has always kept that underpaid from what the supervisor made. So I think I don't have a problem with the assessor, her wages being brought up to where they should be, and this is a 4-year, would be a 4-year thing. But as far as the rest of us, I feel guilty sometimes. We have these meetings that we really get through in a hurry anymore. Years ago, we used to sit there for sometimes 2 hours, but we're generally out of there in a half an hour, and we're getting paid $126 for that half hour, and I just sometimes feel that's too much money. And I think we should be thinking about the city at this time too. The things that are going on, things aren't getting any better, and I just don't believe that the rest of us need that extra few dollars, where we could be maybe helping somebody who has lost their job and that. So I won't support that part of it.
Okay.
I agree. I don't think we need, trustees need an increase. School board, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't get paid at all, or park board, or a number of things. So I am grateful for the pay I currently receive from Township, and I do not need more, in my opinion.
Okay. Trustee Aldency?
For the time that I spent working for Township and then being a trustee, it's been this way for such a long time. I think we learn something every single meeting that we're at, and we're educated where other people don't know some of the things that we know. And working for Township really gave me an edge on that, where I could answer some questions that, newer people didn't understand why it was done a certain way. I think we're very lucky to get paid what we get paid. We're elected officials. We put our own money into campaigning when we have to, and it kind of evens itself out.
Okay.
So I'm very content with what we get paid.
Okay.
I'm thankful for it. I appreciate it.
Tonight is just for discussion.
And to decide, I think, where the board wants to go.
Yes.
I don't get a vote though. So.
Right. So we decide where the board.
Well, it wants to go so you can get the ordinance.
Yes. How you guys, so we can work on getting the ordinance together, so we can vote on the next meeting. We vote next
Can
meeting?
I say something on behalf of the clerks? I do like the fact that you included in here that the clerk also is the FOIA officer, which is extremely difficult.
Yes.
If I didn't have Mike, I'd probably be in the Attorney General's office because I didn't do something right. Because these FOIA things can be very tricky.
Yeah, they can be. Yes.
Do you have an opinion on the clerk's out? Because there's a couple options there.
Well, I don't know, what is your proposal? Right now I get $66.95.
It's saying either the 8% increase, which is basically, so this is worded a little weird. Wait, because for
It's a part-time position here.
right.
And you're comparing part-time positions for clerk?
All the clerks were part-time.
Then I'm paying way underpaid then. But I'm not doing this for the money, trust me.
Yes.
It's not doing
Because
it.
it says either An 8%, so like for Patrick would be an 8% raise. It doesn't say the percentage for Maida because it's making it equal to the supervisor and then doing that like yearly. Or so an 8% clerk raise or an increase to 12,000 annually. It's a big difference.
Yes, yes. Assessor Ridgeway.
So that was just because I just wanted you to have the information when I was putting it together so that you can decide the trustees can decide what it is they want to do. It's not set. Any of this isn't set.
Could all be changed. We could be like, well, we want to increase it 25%.
Absolutely. This
Right.
is just basically, okay, the CPI over the last 8 years, the salary was set the last term at 3% at the first year, and then there was no increase throughout the rest of the term. So
Okay.
that's why I kind of gave an idea of what it would be if you did, based on the CPI for the last 4 years, what it would be at, just if you gave it off the first year, or if you separated it out 2% every year. And I kind of followed that through on all of them, just to kind of give you an idea that none of this, you can come up with a whole different figure. And the range of the clerk's salaries was 9,000 to 16,500.
Wow.
So, I mean, if you wanted to get closer to that range, you don't necessarily have to go to the median. It's just, I work with medians because they get rid of the outliers on the figures. So, it's,
And these are medians relative to the ones that are
yes.
relative to us.
Yes. These are not medians throughout the whole state of Illinois. We're not throwing Cook County in here. We're not throwing.
Right.
It's ones that are similar in size. It's just those 14 that I had mentioned in there.
How many townships do we have in Illinois? Do you know?
3,000 or something.
Do you?
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
lot.
Bananas.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a lot. What you've done, 14 of them, that's quite a few.
Well, we
They're-
started with the population to kind of narrow it down, and then as we contacted some townships were also doing research, so they sent us their information that they obtained from other townships. So then we went through that to find ones that were similar in parcel size and also, so we got that kind of thing.
The vast majority of those like thousands of townships are like tiny.
Right.
Tiny though. Like the larger townships like us are more unusual.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's harder to find those, yeah.
And they only pay road people usually, right? All those tiny townships are primarily the only paid position is the road commissioner.
Well, in Stevenson County, the assessors contract, or the township contracts out with the county for the assessors. We have a little bit over 50% of the commercial and residential in Stevenson County, in Freeport Township. Now, Patrick contracts out with,
All but one
one
of
rural.
our townships to do general assistance, and we also contract with a township out of Lanark. We do their general assistance for them as well. So a lot of rural townships contract their general assistance to us because they normally don't see a whole lot of general assistance cases. And when they do see an influx of them, they don't know how to handle them, so they usually send them our way. So
Supervisor Sellers,
yes, the chair recognizes Trustee Aldenson.
when we resided as a family in Pearl City, that's Lauren Township, I did bookkeeping part-time for them, and I was working at Freeport Township at that time, and they only have one meeting a month.
Yeah, some
For
townships do.
Monday.
Yes.
And I can't recall, it's been so many years ago, what everybody was paid. But, their business is a little different than ours is.
Right.
As far as the population that they're taking care of, emergency assistance, we're doing their general assistance. I assume it's still at this time.
Yes.
If they need it. So, theirs is a little different than ours, but if you go to a larger population, I'm sure that we're below that.
Yes.
Supervisor Sellers.
Yes, the chair recognizes trustee Bender.
With Barb's job, I don't think she's anywhere near 16,000. Barb spends the same amount of time at the meetings as we do, but it's the extra work,
Right,
that she has to do on the side.
right.
So I'm actually looking myself at 9,000 for that job. That's just my opinion.
Or like get in the range of average.
Right.
Cause like it's outside, and even with the 8%, it's still gonna be below that. But 12,000 would be
Yeah.
like 50%. Though I did look at the historical raises, and
Uh-huh.
trustees got a large increase in 2013, right?
Yeah, that's when there was only salary prior to 2013, and they added the
Per
per
diem.
diem in addition to it. So the increase of the per diem plus an increase in the salary made the total for trustees at 64% increase. So prior to that, there were just salaries for the. And I-
Supervisor Sellers,
Yes,
with the
the chair
COVID thing,
recognizes.
we just not, the per diem thing is kind of a moot point. Because nobody's going anywhere because everything is Zoom or, virtual. And I think it's gonna be that way for the next couple years, until this COVID thing gets under control.
And Supervisor Sellers?
Yes, the chair recognizes Assessor Ridgway.
The one thing we did find that typically, there's no reason why the trustees cannot legally receive a salary and a per diem, but
Right.
in the townships that we surveyed, they either received a salary or they received a per diem per meeting. So that's just another,
Isn't that just terminology?
well, the per diem is what you get paid if you attend the meeting. If you don't attend the meeting, you don't
You
get
don't get the per
anything.
diem.
The salary covers,
I gotcha.
Right.
I
so
gotcha.
that's just, a difference we saw too, but there's nothing that,
So we could change it so it would be just the salary,
you could if you wanted.
which would just be like cleaner accounting.
Yeah.
That seems like a good idea.
Liz might appreciate that.
Yeah. She just might appreciate that.
Supervisor Sellers, again, maybe Mr. Phillips can tell us, when does this have to be decided?
Mike, when do we have to decide on the salaries for elected officials?
If I remember right, it's 6 months prior to the taking office. I gave you a memo on it.
Yes, you
It was
did.
sometime in November.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember the exact date off the top of my head, but it was, the statute requires 6 months, so that's prior. So everybody who runs for the office or may decide to run for the office knows what the salary would be when they file their nominating
Right.
papers.
So it's 6 months.
Okay, so then, because
Right.
the
In fact, November
nomination,
18th, I'm thinking,
Yeah,
but I'm not
because,
sure of the exact date.
Right.
I'm looking here, just give me a second.
16th,
second.
I got my computer up. I can try to take a look at it.
I have it on my calendar when the petitions have to come in,
On the 14th or 16th?
and it's
was
on,
it?
the petitions are started coming in on the 16th of
16th.
November. So we have to decide at the November 3rd meeting. then,
Right.
Because the petitions start coming in on the 16th of November. So it's November 3rd then, that's when they have to decide. That makes sense. Okay, that's,
Okay.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
Fine.
Supervisor Sellers,
Yes.
do we know where you wanna go with it? Only
Yes.
if we can draft
You get a draft of the
Guide
or,
of the
of the
ordinance.
ordinance.
yeah, that was the only, if you know yet where you wanna.
Right.
I was thinking about like writing something down and looking at it on paper and like, thinking it.
So
Okay.
should we put this on the next meeting then, this
Yes.
discussion to continue?
Yes. So I need a motion to continue, right, Mike?
Motion postponed.
Motion to postpone till the next meeting, which is
October
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 19th.
19th, yep.
So moved.
all
Cook.
righty. I need a second.
Second.
Second by
Alton
Alden.
C?
All right.
Okay. And then we need, all in favor?
Yep. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Motion carried. That gets a little confusing, but we got it. Though we got it. All righty. The next order of business is supervisor's report. I am proud to say I don't have nothing to report this evening.
Oh, goodness.
Thanks a lot.
So much for his salary increase.
Thanks a lot, man. Wow.
What have you been doing?
Everything. Next up is the assessor's report.
So I do have something to report tonight. We are finalizing our assessments for 2020, our quadrennial assessment year. And based on the state study and based on the studies we've done, we had to gain over 10 million assessed dollars this year. Hopefully, that will allow an increase in assessments if levies are similar, even if districts get a slight increase. Hopefully, those rates will come down a little bit.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so
What rates are you talking about?
the tax rates. So, 'cause with the assessment going up, if levies stay the same or similar, even if they have to go up a little bit, hopefully those rates will come down then. The tax rate for the tax bills.
Wait, did I hear that right? So like the overall assessed value was 10 million higher than last year?
Yes.
Where did that happen?
Because the sales. We
Yeah.
The
are-
houses are selling.
The houses are selling.
Those orange dogs, man.
Yeah.
Market right
What'd you
now.
say? It was what?
The orange dogs.
They're all over
Oh,
the place. aren't
gotcha, okay.
Big sellers.
They're all over the place.
Fun.
Okay.
So, yeah, we'll be turning our books over before the next meeting. Hopefully this week we'll be turning them over to county, so.
Good job. All right. Okay. Next one, business is trustees report. Trustees.
I have nothing.
Okay. Any public comments? Any other business coming before the town? Do I entertain a motion to adjourn until Monday, October 19th, 2020?
So moved.
I need a second. All righty. Anybody second? Who's second?
Bender.
Second.
All righty. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Any opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you guys for calling in. We appreciate it.